you can be a bit nasty.
Oh, really? Ouch.
In a good way.
Like what?
As in, you can be a bit savage in quite a fun way. I mean, I'm one of those people who do anything to avoid confrontation.
You people pleaser?
A little bit.
Are
It will
you?
surprise you a little bit, yeah.
Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the second series of Running Loose. My name is Francesca.
And I'm Vanessa Ryle.
And this week you find us filming currently at Ascot Racecourse because there's 2 big days here. We've got the Friday, which is a slightly lesser day, which is happening today, and then tomorrow is the King George and Queen Elizabeth Stakes, which is one of the big highlights of the season.
Yeah.
So, and outside of Royal Ascot, you've got some big days that happen here. King George Day, well, Shergar Cup's a big day in terms of like public interest. That's coming up quite soon, and Champions Day in October on the flat.
Yeah, absolutely. And then rolls into the jump season pretty quickly. You've got their Howden Christmas Festival, and they have a grade 1 then. And then you've got the big chases at the start of the year as well. So, I mean, they're flat out here all year round. It makes me laugh. That is the jumps track where it's so
that
brown.
Dry, parched thing on the inside.
How mad is that?
I wonder when they start kind of prepping it.
It's amazing when you think that must be like the road out there, given the summer we've had, where they haven't watered, and it's so parched, it'll be like concrete. And yet, come the jump season, that'll be soft ground.
Yeah, and the track itself looking fantastic ahead of these big 2 days. You're working for Howden today and tomorrow. I'm on ITV duty tomorrow. This is a test announcement, so should we just pause, or can you keep hearing us?
Attention,
this is
please.
Authentic.
We regret that it is necessary to evacuate this area of the racecourse.
Hopefully not.
Please use the nearest exit
Do you have to
indicated to
evacuate
you
the
by the
racecourse?
staff.
No.
Please leave as quickly
No,
as
hopefully not.
required.
Hopefully not. Okay.
Attention, please.
Oh my
we
God.
regret that it is necessary to evacuate
If you can still
this
hear
area
us,
of the
we will
racecourse.
have a bit of this because there's a lot of
Please use the
setup
nearest exit
going on
indicated
today. So all the
to you by
boxes
a
along
member of
here,
staff.
the staff
Please
are getting
leave as
all
quickly
ready
as
for the day,
required.
getting the tables
Any
laid,
further
getting all
announcements will
the
be
whole
treated
setup
as
going.
rude.
So we might have a bit of background
Thank you.
noise. And that's authentic. That's what happens on the morning of a race day.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that hopefully will be done now.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. Who wins the King George, by the way? So this is going to go out after the King George.
Yeah,
so we're just
gonna
putting our
test
necks on the line. Yeah.
Okay, so 5 horses.
Yeah.
You've got Kalpana, you've got Jan Bruegel, Calandagan, Continuous is a pacemaker. Who am I forgetting? Rebels Romance.
How could we forget him?
I know. Who wins?
I think maybe Rebels Romance. I've thought about this a lot. I've actually really manifested how the finish is going to go.
Okay.
And I think Calandagan will come from the back of the pack. Continuous will have made all. Jan Bruegel. And I think Rebels Romance will just let the others sort of do battle and then just really tough it out.
Okay.
He's just a legend though,
He is
isn't
a
he? It's
legend.
kind of head and heart. What about you?
I think Calandagan.
Oh,
I know. I was actually a bit mean about him after he finished second in
So
his
was
horse
I.
Group 1. I was like, this horse doesn't want to win. He then subsequently won really well in France. And I just think he's like slowly putting things together, and they're going to ride him, I think, a bit more prominently.
Oh, are they? That's interesting.
Well, he was ridden a bit more prominently in France last time.
I was a real bitch about him as well. Yeah, I was like, because in racing we're not allowed to call horses sort of
Bad
monkeys
names.
or dogs or
Yeah,
anything,
yeah.
and I kind of did, and then
Yeah.
he went and won the
Yeah,
Group
I
1
know.
like he did, and everyone was like, oh, but that's
Yeah. I know.
anyway.
Well, like,
The result would have been gone by now, so yeah.
They're there to make fools of us. Anyway, that would have happened, but you
Yeah.
can test our kind of tipping abilities. What have you been up to the last couple of weeks? Because we had a little bit of a pause while I went on holiday.
Well, come on, let's cover the holiday first then. How was the holiday?
Holiday was lovely. So the Saturday after July week, hopped on a plane, got there late, but it was so nice to be there. It's my parents' house in Tuscany. It's the most beautiful spot, typical like house on the hill.
Beautiful.
Lovely pool. It was really hot. It was so lovely because my brother was over with his wife and their kids, and so it had my kids. There was a lot of splashing around in the pool. My
Do your kids pee in the
one-and-a-half-year-old.
pool?
Possibly, but you can't really tell at
No,
the time.
thank God. Were you ever told as a child that if you pee in the pool, it goes...
It's going to go green
Yeah.
or something, yeah. My 1.5-year-old daughter is a complete kamikaze, it turns out. She just stands on the side and throws herself in, whether you're there or not, to catch her. She's a complete lunatic. So it wasn't all that relaxing, I've got to admit, but it was nice to have a change of scenery.
That's a case of needing a holiday post the holiday.
Yeah, we got back and literally passed out on the sofa at 8 o'clock. We were so... dead. And the flight, it's only 2 and a bit hours or whatever, but you've got near 2-year-olds sat on your lap, wriggling the whole time. The other one's kind of...
Yeah, I mean, as we've discussed multiple times, I mean, you're that whole thing with the kids.
You'll get there one day. You'll love it. You'll love
One day. Imagine when I actually have a child. Imagine I'm also sort of anti-kids right now, and then I'll have a child, and I'll probably be one of those painful mothers. It's so painful. I'll be taking photos. I'll be sending them to you. I'll be saying, "Isn't she beautiful? She'll be ugly."
We're all a bit blinded by our children's beauty.
But you were off the back of July week. Yeah. Should we cover that
July
now?
Week was
How
good.
was it?
It feels almost quite a long time ago now. It was really good. It was another really hot week on the racecourse. I spent most of the time under an umbrella because it felt absolutely sizzling.
There was one day in particular I did think, I was like, I don't know how they're coping.
And poor Hayley was with us, who's 6 months pregnant, and oh gosh, poor thing, on her feet all day. With a big belly, and
Hayley Turner, that is, for anyone wondering.
Hayley Turner. And then a good result. I mean, I actually love the July Cup result. I mean, it was a 66-1 outside, and none of us saw that coming. Trained by Richard Hughes. It was first Group 1 winner, wasn't it?
And he's just such a nice guy.
So lovely. Ex-jockey, now trainer.
My height, and used to be 9 stone as a jockey or whatever they are. Unbelievable jockey as well. Most of you will know that. But then he's he basically moved into the training ranks. He's done well.
Yeah, wouldn't have masses of horses and not masses of really good horses. No. So good on him for pitching this horse in at 66-1. Yeah. Neil Callan, the jockey, got the call up quite last minute and a bit out of the blue. It's such a busy Saturday, that one, isn't it, with racing all over the place, that it's a good opportunity for jockeys to kind of get on good horses. And then it goes and wins.
The screenshot was fun, wasn't it, that went around afterwards of the conversation? Did you see that on Twitter? So it was basically literally Richard Hughes, just for people who wonder how jockeys are booked and things, literally it was a real life example. Richard Hughes
was Fitzy involved?
Yeah, so Richard Hughes had been playing golf on a racecourse with Mick Fitzgerald, your ITV co-worker, of course, and they've been talking about who's going to ride it in the July Cup. And Mick said, what about Neil Callan? And Richard was like, good idea.
Yeah.
And so Richard texted Neil Callan being like, do you want to ride the horse in the July Cup? Yeah. Neil said, absolutely, with 2 thumbs up.
Did he think he got the wrong number or something?
I think and then he replied being like, yeah, absolutely, 2 thumbs up. And then the next message says, great, you're booked. Think she's got a chance, she goes well at home or something. And there was one more thumbs up, such bloke chat, no further discussion, just take it, thumbs up, job done.
And for Neil, what is he? He'd be my kind of age, so he'd be of the older ranks of jockeys, and he's had a long and distinguished career. He had quite a long stint in Hong Kong, came back and probably been struggling a little bit.
Career, as in there's been
he's very outspoken, isn't he, on social media, which has got him into trouble a bit. But I enjoy him. I actually know his wife Trish really well. We grew up together, did pony club together. Literally, we're really close friends as kids. Don't see her so much these days. Bit of background music. Okay,
like
just testing the speakers.
Sort of vibing.
So I'm really happy for them. They've got 4 gorgeous children, boys. I mean, their oldest is now riding in races. So Jack Callan, their oldest, was riding, I think, here at Ascot on the same day that his dad, literally half an hour after his dad won the July Cup. I think I even saw Henry Callan jocked up at Salisbury or something the other day in an amateur
real
race.
Racing family.
Yeah, they're so nice, and the boys are great, and I couldn't have been happier for all of them.
And Richard Hughes having a little cry as well.
I know.
I love grown men crying.
Okay.
Just as a general rule.
Bit of weakness.
I love that.
Bit of vulnerability.
Yeah, exactly. Show me your emotion. And I like to really bring it out in the men as well. No, I'm joking. I'm not a predator. Well, I am, but anyway.
Moving on. Predator. Jeez.
No, I'm not. I retract all of that. I'm actually a really nice person. All I was trying to get around to saying there is, I love that racing and sport in general tends to make grown men cry.
Yeah.
I just love that it can bring out that level of emotion in some pretty hardy characters, specifically in racing.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker for a cry. We've actually discussed this before. I actually do have a cry. But, in sport and passion and the result of a whole career brings out that little moment of emotion. I just love it. I can't help but get swept up in the moment.
So nice.
I love that interview that Matt did with Richard Hughes, Matt Chapman did with Richard Hughes, because he really gave him the space just to have a little moment. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's so nice to have the diversity, the kind of difference in know, outsiders and people with less horses and jockeys that you don't see all the time at the highest level.
The other thing I was going to say about July week is you guys were doing something a bit different.
Well,
was that because of the heat?
Just generally, it's quite nice when you're at different racecourses to show off different parts of the track, etc. And at Newmarket July course, the pre-parade ring is lovely. You've got these massive trees that kind of give a really lovely shade for the horses walking around the pre-parade with a big wood chip walkway and then a saddling area. And it's just nice to go and see the runners ahead of the big race. So before the July Cup, I went there, not the July Cup, the Princess of Wales's, was it? Yeah, where Ghostwriter was running. And I was just there setting up with my camera thinking, right, what are we gonna show here? And there was a bit of a kerfuffle behind me and they were saddling Ghostwriter. And at that moment he reared up and fell over backwards. It wasn't live, but I then did a piece there. I saw it, I did a piece there, and I reported the fact that he'd reared over, fallen over, and then when he got up, they walked him away, and he was very sore on his near hind, and I thought, didn't look like that bad a fall, but he was definitely quite sore.
So wait, he reared up, flipped over backwards?
Not like a massive flip, he fell on his bum.
I see, yeah.
But then I then did my piece, I reported, I said, we've just seen Ghostwriter fall over, rear over, and he was walking away quite stiffly, but then showed him he walked out of it better, but I said, his participation could be in doubt. So it's quite fun kind of doing a little bit of live stuff because you're showing people a different angle of what you're not necessarily seeing on the telly.
It is that factor though, isn't it? I mean, I say it often when we're on the telly that, horses can lose a race way before you get anywhere near the start of a race. And that obviously is a very literal example, but even smaller things that happen in the pre-parade ring that some people don't see. It's just race loss for that horse for whatever reason.
Definitely.
But that's a big example.
I also did a little bit of watching horses going down to post. Yeah. Because after we came off there the first day, there were 3 more races, and I went and had a drink with some friends over on the other side. And I hadn't really studied the races, but I thought, let's have a look at them. And each of those 3 races, I picked one going down, and they all won. And
really?
I was like, there's definitely something to be learnt or information to be picked up by watching them go to post. How they move, how their temperament is. Or just, it's so hard to explain when you don't do it every day, but as horse people, we know, we go, okay, that one's a bit shuffly, okay, that one's a bit reluctant to go down, that one is actually moving really beautifully, got a lovely shine, it's really well muscled, just looks great. So they just kind of speak to you in a way. And one of them I picked out in the last race, 14-1, Dutch Decoy winner for Mark Johnson. I was like, God, I wish I'd had a bet.
God, I'm so skilled at this. And
it was a bit harder actually, trying to do it for telly, because you're like, am I in the right place? Are we on the right horse? Course, and then 3 come out in a clump, and it's a bit harder, but it's something we're quite interested in exploring, that side of things.
Well, also, I'm always amazed at people who punt properly from the paddock. Actual paddock watchers, they still exist. Obviously now punting and gambling has moved kind of in a different space. Yeah. But that traditional paddock watcher does still exist. I know people who only back horses on the race card in the paddock.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, they should also go and watch them going down to start. Well, we always used to do that with my parents, when they had a horse running, my dad, as a trainer, he'd always saddle them and then make sure he went out onto the track in time to watch his horse go down. Really? Because it's important to see how they're behaving and moving, etc. But back to Newmarket, a bit of news about Ghostwriter after the event.
And of course Ghostwriter went through the London sale, cost whatever he cost, was bought by Keir Drabson, Amo Racing, and then the horse has stayed with Clive Cox up until now, basically. And then the news came out that the horse is being moved to Kevin Philippart de Foy, who is of course Amo Racing's new salary trainer, essentially in-house salary trainer. And there was so much uproar on social media about this. How can he move a horse? He shouldn't be moving the horse from one yard to another. And of course, it's something that Keir has done a lot, and he's quite controversial in this space for this behaviour. And I feel very on Keir's side with this.
Well, essentially, yes, I think you're right, because he's bought the horse, he's paying the bills, and it's his decision what to do with it. A bit like when it comes to jockeys debate, if he takes a jockey off and puts another one on, then it kind of is his prerogative.
It's ridiculous, this whole thing of loyalty to a yard. Don't get me wrong, there's loads of positives to being an owner, sticking with a trainer, and having that long, distinguished sort of relationship with a trainer, that owner-trainer relationship that can go on for years. There's obviously loads of positives that come from that, and I'm sure when you have a winner out on the track and you've been with a trainer for a long time, you've had the highs and lows and you've stayed loyal, I'm sure that win has a lot more to it maybe. But going back to the bare facts here, if you're an owner of a horse, do what you want with a horse.
Yeah.
I think it's like, I hate it that they get given a hard time about it. And in other countries, horses get moved around the country to different yards all the time, especially in America because of the way the training and racing is there. And it just kind of, I don't know, I felt like leave him alone. It's his horse. He pays the bills. He paid a fortune for it. If he wants to move it to my yard, he can. Do you know, like, he can do whatever he wants.
No, I do like to normally have a good debate with you, but on this one,
We move on.
I agree. You also went to Ireland, didn't you, in the interim?
I went to Killarney.
Killarney. What's
Killarney,
that like? Can't say I've
dreadful.
ever been to Killarney.
So Killarney's in the arse end of nowhere, and loads of people said to me, so I've got loads of Irish friends, and everyone said, you know, Killarney's a long way away from anything. And basically, I was out there to sort of be involved in an event with Cutler and Gross, the sunglass company. They are moving their distribution centre to Ireland, really random. They were hosting an event in Killarney to launch the new distribution centre. And
at the races?
Well, the going racing bit was just the entertainment. They had a bigger sort of like, I don't know, meetings and a big launch thing in the Smart Hotel during the day. And then in the evening time, they went racing. And it was during Killarney's July meeting. And it was just fab. Everyone said to me, you'll love Killarney, because basically it's a racecourse in the hills and it's kind of famous and it's supposed to be like racing's most sort of picturesque track in Ireland anyway. And
Good quality racing or not really?
yeah, it can be decent. You can see a nice horse there, but hysterically, I got there and of course the cloud was so low I couldn't even see a hill. It just looked like a barren grey land, so I didn't really get the picturesque vibe. But it was a great event, and I was just there making sure these people could enjoy their days racing. Loads of them had never been racing from all over the world, and one of the things I did with them was I took them down to have a bet with a proper bookie. And you know what, it was so much fun. And I know this sounds like racing people will be listening thinking, of course having a bet's fun, that's what like people go racing for, unless you're like saying the obvious. But sometimes you forget how much fun going with cash down to a bookmaker, getting a bit of rapport going with a bookie, going back to the same bookie. So much fun. And they my guests thoroughly enjoyed it. And the bookies thought it was great crack. You know, going up and we're saying we want 6s and these 4s, and they give us 5s, and you know, it's all a bit of crack. But it made me realise, just like when you have that casual bet with, you know, you take a bit of cash to the races.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't do that enough. It was just so much fun.
I do think way more enjoyable than just doing it on your phone.
Oh, like a different thing altogether. You know, we're going back and the bookies are having a laugh with us, and, you know, they're meeting different people and they're asking us where we're all from. And then, you know, they said, oh, go on, if you back both of those, we'll give you this price or whatever it might be. And just having the crack.
What percentage of people do you think on a day at the races, say here today at Ascot, people are having a bet?
Yeah.
What percentage of people here betting today will be betting on their phone, and what percentage will go and like have a bet with bookies? Or you've also got the
more
Ascot
with Ascot, the tote, as it was in Killarney. I genuinely would like to know the facts and figures on that. I mean, is it a 50-50 split? But, you know, loads of my guests in the Howden box today won't go down and have a bet with a bookie because they've got the bet with Ascot people there coming in, and
it's
so
convenient.
Yeah, and I get that as well. But yeah, it just really reminded me. And I suppose it led me on to be thinking about, you know, and it's a much wider discussion, but obviously racing will always be inextricably linked with gambling. And then gambling at the moment is now becoming linked with sort of addiction and a negative connotation, negative feel about it. And that's why racing's kind of being dragged down. And, you know, it's a much wider debate at the moment, but it's a big political thing. But I don't know, I suddenly got, I sort of left Killarney and I thought, make gambling great again. And I know in 2025, that's a really
it's quite a topical debate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we're talking about this whole racing tax with gambling, and also the problem with addiction, gambling, etc. But I think it's so important to highlight the difference between betting on racing and then like betting on kind of casino style online games, because you have to wait like half an hour for each race, and there's so much more skill involved. You can actually right, well, I'm going to study this and I'm going to take on the bookie because I think that's at the wrong price, and I'm going to have a bet, and as long as you're gambling within your means, like what's wrong with it?
No, and also
how many like legal things out there are there that people have got addictions to, such as drink, food, cigarettes, etc., that are way worse for your health. That's absolutely fine. Even like a shopping addiction. What if I like had an addiction to buying handbags and I was going to sell myself broke? No one's going to stop me doing that.
So, you know, gambling has this huge negative thing at the moment. And like you just touched upon there, you know, I started thinking about it in terms of the alcohol. Gambling is legal, drinking alcohol is legal, right? Yeah, if we have a bet now, it's seen dirty and bad and negative. But people have a drink every day, and people have addiction problems with drink. People have addiction problems with gambling. I'm not ignoring that, but it's a smaller percentage, and there's a huge percentage of people that can have fun with it. Oh, we're back.
Attention.
Please ensure everything is ready
Pause for a sec.
guests.
Please ensure everybody listens to Running Loose podcast. We're having some interesting discussions here. I want to extend the debate about betting. Not debate about betting, but there's been a bit of chat recently about kind of bringing racing into a bit more of a modern era. So, for example, like we're looking at the track here, and it's measured in miles and furlongs and all of that. So 1 furlong, 2 furlongs, 8 furlongs makes up a mile. Talk about making it into meters.
Yeah.
There's a bit of chat about that. There's talk about getting rid of pounds, stones and pounds in terms of jockeys' weights and making it kilos. But the one I feel most strongly about is decimal odds.
Oh yeah.
Because I find it confusing, I've got to say. If someone says to you, okay, what's better, 7-4 or 15-8?
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you on that. And
Right,
the decimal
I don't know.
odds, this is actually something that the new people the people I took racing to Killarney were talking about, because of course they go up to the bookies and like, what does that mean? What does that number mean?
Yeah, I need them in order, like in terms of the
Yeah.
favourite at the top,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
then I can
yeah.
work out which is better than the
Yeah,
other. But then if you're
totally.
comparing one
Yeah.
board to another, I'm like,
And when you get really smart
I don't
people
know.
are like, oh, he's moved in half a point, and it's sort of confusing. Whereas if it was decimal odds, again, that would just
It'd be
make so much more
easier.
sense.
Okay, so you agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
So
push for that.
straightforward
Okay,
debate
we'll
with
start
that
the
as well.
campaign.
Yeah,
for
but
decimal
I'd
odds.
love to know kind of like why that hasn't happened already, and I genuinely don't know the answer to
I think
that.
tradition.
Tradition, yeah. Same with like guineas in the sales ring. You know, guineas, a guinea isn't a pound, and then we report it as pounds, but it's actually guineas, and that's actually
and
wrong.
what is a guinea?
And
It's
just all of that.
It
Yeah.
includes the percentage for the sales house, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
The commission. Right. I'm just having a look at our running order and trying to work out what our next topic of conversation is. Oh well, Goodwood. So this is going out on the Monday ahead of Goodwood,
Yeah.
and Goodwood is a long week of very fun racing, I've got to say. So it starts on the Tuesday and it goes all the way through to the Saturday.
So Jessica's already told me about her week, and basically the racing is like a side shit. She is flat out with the social, aren't you?
I know, I'm really going to have to like squeeze some like prep and work in there. Hopefully no one from
And
my
I just
TV
love
is
it. You're
watching
like away from the kids, you're away from home, you're flat out seeing your pals,
Can you
you're
not
doing
tell
some
Max
work.
this?
Sorry.
No, well, you know, it'd be rude not to make it
No,
fun.
absolutely.
No, we actually, for the last 5 years, have stayed with some really good friends. We have a lovely house near there. And yeah, they always put on a lot of fun things. So then, like, near-death drowning experience I told you about a few podcasts ago.
Yeah.
That was staying with them. So planning another boat trip on the Wednesday. On the Thursday, it's the Regency Ball at Goodwood House, which is going to be really fun. There's been a lot of like chat about our costumes going into this, because we are going all out with full-on Regency. You know, like heaving bosoms and kind of ringlets in the hair.
Is that what that is? Right.
Yeah. So Sarah's been all over that.
And you just know that painfully Jessica will still be able to pull that off.
Well,
and
no,
everyone
I don't
else
have any heaving bosoms left, so I'm going to have to kind of
prop them up a bit.
Yeah.
Prop them up a bit. It's all right.
Shelf.
And then what? Curl your hair into ringlets.
I think curly ringlets, don't you?
And then a
maybe
corset?
like a corset.
Is it a corset?
No, it's not.
And
So
like a
actually,
puffy-
Regency is quite unsexy. It was that
Oh.
era of like, you know, boobs out and then everything just kind of going out in a like A-line from there. So not very attractive, like not very flattering if you've got a waist.
Okay.
You basically need tits and hair, of which I don't really have much of
No,
either.
you don't have
No.
very little of
So I'm
either.
screwed. And actually, you're not meant to be tanned, so I'm going to look like the kind of continental cousin that's just arrived after the
Nice,
shit,
nice.
which isn't. The,
I'm
like-
actually jealous. I hope to see lots of content, lots of photos.
Yes, lots of photos. It's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
And good racing as well. The Sussex Days is going to be awesome. Field of Gold running there. William Buick's been booked to ride. The Nassau is another really good one. A bit of a kind of novelty race, the Magnolia Cup. We've talked about that before, but it does get a lot of attention on it.
I saw Edie Campbell the other day, and I asked her, I was like, apparently won the Magnolia Cup. She won it twice.
She won it twice.
She rode in it 3 times. She won it, then I think she was second, and then because she was, I think she then went back to win it a 3rd time. So and she was based.
Did she love it?
I think she trained with Ian Williams and George Baker, so really fun people.
Yeah.
And yeah, she seemingly loved it. But she's a hell of a jockey anyway, so
Yeah.
it's kind of robbery. You know, she's just
yeah.
getting on like no wonder she won it twice.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
always
she was
slightly
talking
a
about
kind
that.
of watch through the fingers kind of scenario because there's
Yeah,
no
although
stalls
I
and
feel like the health and safety now has like ramped up a little bit. Back in maybe her time, your time, it seemed to be a bit more
it
like,
was a
good
bit
luck
loose.
to you.
Exactly, and now they make them go through all these kind of fitness assessments and riding assessments and all that.
And now
you
that
should
I'm,
do it next
well,
year.
now that I'm riding out.
Yes, I've
I
seen
haven't
you
even
riding
discussed
out
that.
on
I haven't
Instagram.
discussed
Come
that.
on,
Yeah.
tell us.
Obviously, I feel like I'm a fully fledged jockey. Yeah, I'm not. There's been quite a lot of controversy about my riding out in inverted commas because I obviously feel, like I say, like a professional straight away.
Yeah.
But basically, there's been a bit of feedback from jockeys / racing professionals that it doesn't even constitute riding out because I'm A, riding so long, B, going so slowly, and C, I'm on such a boat of an individual of a horse
It
that
looked
it
a bit
just...
like a hippo. That
Hey,
thing.
now that's Big Al. Be nice to Big Al.
Well, nice Stuart Edmonds putting you
Oh,
clearly
Stuart
on the
Edmonds,
slowest,
he's
sweetest
such a
horse in
hero.
the
So he
yard.
puts an earpiece in my ear.
No way.
Yeah, an AirPod, and then he calls me as I'm going down
No
to the
way.
gallops, and then I put my phone in my pocket, and then he talks to me as I'm riding round on the round gallop,
No way.
and he's just talking to me the whole time, mainly about my lower leg, which swings in the wind a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got to stop gripping my knees. I mean, there's loads of technical
yes.
chat here, but basically,
Because
I've
you're
ridden
riding
out-
too long.
This is what he says.
Yeah.
He was like, if you ramp your stirrups up, and interestingly spoke to Safi Osborne at the Racing League the other night, and she said exactly the same. She's like, you've got to get your stirrups up. But I feel like my balance is totally off.
But
Anyway,
are you used to... Sorry, I'm choking on a piece
You're
of
right,
ice. Are you used to like bridging your reins and putting your weight
I
down
can
through
do
your
that.
hands?
I can
So
do
you've got to
that.
put your weight down through your hands.
yeah, I do a bit of that, but no, probably not. I can do the bridging of the reins.
Yeah.
Weight through my hands, I'm just trying.
Yeah.
But I still grip with my knees. But obviously, Safi was saying, but if your stirrups were shorter,
Yeah, you grip your inner leg.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
would. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm ramping up to that
Think
next
of
week.
the cocktail reference. Think of the martini glass. That's the shape you want to be. The back is the rim, and then this bit is your. Okay.
Oh.
Well, hang on. Like that. So that is the
Oh, I
triangle, and then
see.
your back is the flat
Oh,
bit.
that's
so you want to
clever.
really stick your arse out.
Yeah,
and lower
I'm
your
not
back.
doing that at all.
Yeah.
Did you see the photo of me? I'm like basically stood bolt upright. I'm like, hi guys.
And what's going on with the?
I'm riding out.
What's going on with the mounting procedure?
Oh my God, the getting on. It's amazing what stresses you out. And I'm actually going to really be like an advocate for getting people to, go and ride out. If you can ride and you want to get involved
Yeah.
in the racing, it's a great way.
Yeah.
Great camaraderie in the yard and
Yeah.
stuff. Bit of crack. Stuart Edmonds gives me a bit of banter every morning. I love it.
Yeah, it's a great way to start the day. I really miss
oh.
it. I used to do it for so many years. Get up, ride out, 1 lot, 2 lots, get on with the day.
It's
I
fab.
love it.
It's
I really
absolutely
miss
fab. I mean, it won't be fab when I fall off and eat some sand. I won't enjoy that. But it is fab so far. And in the mornings at the moment, at this time of year, glorious. But the getting on, it's amazing what stresses you out. Once I'm on and we're cantering, whether my position is right or not, I'm actually fine. I'm like, okay, well, we're off now. But the getting on, I get anxiety about it. And
Why?
then basically,
What's
so
the
the
deal?
horse comes along to the mounting block. So imagine you're
Gets
quite
brought along for you?
No, you
By the
pull
staff?
it along. No, yeah, by the staff. My servant,
I know, you lead it
Giles,
along
is there.
to the
So
mounting block.
you lead it along, and then you lead it round to the mountain block, and then as you get up sides the mountain block, you start stepping onto the mountain block, and then you're supposed to swing your leg over as he's walking. I said to Stu, I was like, I'm not a fucking gymnast. Do you know what I mean? Like, who is doing this? So now, hilariously, I make the horse stop like a pony clubber, and then I get on. But apparently,
You
once
don't put
I
your foot in the stirrup, do you?
no, I've stopped
good.
doing that because
Okay,
that's
good.
obviously what I did on day one.
Okay.
Anyway, I've got back home and poor Bob the Cob Bridie, he's obviously used to being walked up to mounting block and stood still. And now I'm like booting him to keep walking to then like throw my leg over at home. And Bridie's having this kind of reverse training experience. But anyway, the whole thing is great fun. And the jockey, a few of the jockeys have been taking the piss out of me and I love it. I love the attention.
Yeah, of course you do.
Yeah.
Of course you do. There's no surprises
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So no, it's been great, and I'm riding out next week. So when you said about your jolly week at Goodwood, I'm actually going riding out a couple of mornings, and then I'm
Good.
at the Racing League again. And so
On
yeah,
the Thursday.
Wolverhampton.
Wolverhampton.
You'll be at Glamorous Goodwood doing all your glamorous things, and I'll be at jolly Wolverhampton.
Oh no, I thought you might come to the Regency Ball with us. It's a shame.
What,
Next
for my
one.
massive boobs and curly hair.
Well, yeah, none of us are well suited to that.
I think we move on to question time because we're running out of time. Let's just do. We actually got loads of questions. We put the question request out quite late at night, and I think people just were like feeling it a bit more.
Oh dear. What have
Yeah,
got?
we got quite a lot of non-racing questions, so it's really fun. I love them. More of them. Let's ask the first. The first non-racing one is from Connor Day One, and he has said, "Not quite good cop, bad cop, but who is the good influence and who's the bad influence in the duo?" Now, when we ran through these questions, you were like, "Well, it's obvious."
Yeah, it is
I just don't think it's obvious at all.
Really?
No.
You're the Miss Goody Two Shoes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I don't think it's as obvious as you make it out to be. They're like, don't get me wrong, I get that whole discussion about you were goody two shoes at school, I was nearly expelled, etc., etc. But in terms of how this podcast is done,
You get drunk and roll around in Ferrero Rochers.
okay, that admittedly I shouldn't have. I think that was maybe an overstep of sharing. But I don't know. I think there's some bad cop in you as well, and I do sometimes play good cop.
Well, it depends on what. Like, are we talking good and bad, like nice and nasty, or are we talking kind of naughty, or are we talking?
Yeah, that's
kind of...
true. That's true. I think you can be a bit nasty.
Oh, really? Ouch.
No, I mean in like
Nasty.
I just mean in a good way.
Like what?
As in, you could be a bit savage in quite a fun way. Like when
Okay.
I walk in and I've got my trousers on and they're too big for me, and you're just like, no, absolutely not. I mean it in a good way.
Okay. Hopefully that's not
Yeah.
nasty. I'm
No,
like, "You've got
more
such an
just like
amazing figure,
truthful.
We need to get you
More,
some
okay,
clothes
maybe
that
more
fit."
truthful.
Okay, yeah, well, no, that's true. A lot of my friends call
Yeah.
me like blunt Cheska because
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Can't, if you ask me for an opinion, I will give you a truthful opinion. I'm not very good
Yeah.
at sugarcoating.
Whereas
things.
I actually think I'm the opposite, as in I just much rather.
You're a people pleaser.
A little bit.
Are
It will
you?
surprise you a little
Okay.
bit. Yeah. I mean, I'm one of those people who do anything to avoid confrontation. I actually
I'm a
heard
bit
a
like
great
that too.
story the other day. It's not my story, and I just
Yeah.
heard it anecdotally, but it is a funny one. That a girl wanted to break up with this guy. So this was like a dinner party story recently. Very quickly, girl wanted to break up with the guy. Is so anti-confrontation. She didn't know how to do it, so she faked moving out of her home that she lived in
What?
with him. So
Faked
that
it?
yeah, like we're being evicted, we've got to leave. So her and her housemates, everyone packed up the whole home and told him that they were leaving and that he had to move out too. And then they moved back in and he went to go collect his post and they've moved back in.
So you realised?
Yeah.
Oh no.
But how,
Oh,
like, imagine
no. That
hating
is
confrontation that much
Yeah.
that you have to fake leaving your own home.
Quite, yeah, no, that is quite bad.
Yeah. Anyway.
So okay, we've got both a bit of.
I think it's an even mix. I genuinely do think it's an even
Okay.
mix. We'll do one more question. We're actually going to do a lot more of these questions in the next episode, but we are slightly running out of time. But we thought we'd throw in a racing question. Northbound driving school, whoever that is. Who taught you to ride a horse and at what age? Yours
right.
was obviously on your racehorses.
Well, a horse, yeah, but ponies. Like I had ponies from when I was tiny.
So you just shoved on a pony.
Shoved on a pony. Naughty Rudolph, the Shetland, was a complete shit, and definitely taught me to ride. Frankie Dettori fell off my Shetland pony, claim
What?
to fame. Yeah, he was such a menace. But yeah, I think the naughtier the pony, the better you learn to ride,
Yeah.
because the more falls you have and all the rest of it. So yeah, generally don't remember learning to ride. Just kind of happened.
No,
You?
I just rode at the local riding school. Yeah, literally riding lessons at old school style, and then got a pony at 10. Whiskey Nip, loved him. That was
Aw,
great.
little nip of
Loved
whiskey.
him. And then, obviously, referencing back to the riding out, in terms of riding a racehorse, it's now happening.
Yeah.
I'm only learning to ride a racehorse this week.
Well done. I started at the age of 11. It was
Yeah.
not great. It was not great. It got run away with a lot, fell off a lot, but was seemingly undeterrable. Did love
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So you can learn at any time, basically. Oh, guests have
I
arrived.
know. We've got a few arrivals ahead of the big day. Good place to wrap up.
Yeah, we're done.
Great. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll see you on the next episode.